like he was in the mafia.
Let's begin with part 2 of the Couchsurfing experience. If you haven't seen the first video, click the link below and watch that before watching this, or it might get confusing.
Eventually, his stories just didn't add up. They didn't make any sense at that point. So sometimes he said this, sometimes he said that. He told us that he worked for making bicycles, like racing bicycles and selling them. And we're like, oh, okay. But when he was talking on the phone to apparently his work, it sounded a bit like he was in the mafia. Sort of had a different story every time, or he sort of told story A and some details just didn't match up to story B. He came to a supermarket and he said he needed to buy food for his place and sort of said we can buy what we want, and we were like, oh, okay, so we are not eating together, or are we buying food to eat together, or can we cook at your place? But he sort of didn't really want to reply to that because he was still grumpy about our comment. But we sort of bought like a very simple meal. We sort of said, okay, let's buy bread, butter, that's about it. We don't really need more. We can buy cheese and that's it. That can be our evening meal, and we'll just buy cereals and milk for the morning. We got to the cashier, he couldn't really reply in the native language, so we were a bit concerned about the story he was telling us because he said he lived there for 4 years. Eventually we got to like a construction site / apartment buildings, and we're like, okay, we're getting close to his apartment, I guess. So we got there and he was like, oh, I live here, and we're like, ha ha ha, sort of seeing that it was a sarcastic joke. But this joke then continued for the next building and the next building and the next building. And so we got to a row of apartment buildings and he kept saying, oh, I live here. Ah, no, I don't. Oh, I live here. Oh, no, I don't. And we were sort of getting quite grumpy at this time. So we're like, please stop making these jokes. They're just not funny anymore. He continued this with the floors. We were in the elevator. He was saying, what floor do I live on? And he told us he lived on the 6th floor. And he's like, no, that's not right. I live on the 5th floor. So we went to the 5th floor and it wasn't his floor. Went into the elevator again and went to the 6th floor. And he's like, is this my floor? And we're like, we really don't know where you live. Please just show us where you live. And he did the same joke then with the doors, so the apartment doors. And we were just getting fed up and saying, this is not funny. And he's like, oh, trust me, trust me. And we're like, yeah, we'll trust you when you do something trustworthy. We walked into his apartment and it was empty. Sophia and I were starting to get really scared. We're like, oh my god, he's trying to kill us. What is he doing? Is he trying to kidnap us? So his apartment consisted of a rug, a stereo, a kitchen, and a mattress on the floor, which was sort of his bedroom. And we're like, really, really concerned right now. So we sat on the floor because he didn't have any chairs or a table or a sofa, and sort of waited for him to maybe give us a tour of the house, and sort of thought he would give us any information to his apartment. But we sat there and he literally said nothing. He was still really, really grumpy about the whole temperamental thing. So we were just like, okay, what are we gonna do now? And because he was ignoring us, we just started talking in German with each other because he just wasn't giving us any attention. He was sort of cooking, and so we decided, okay, we'll wait for him to finish cooking and then we can eat our bread while he eats his food, because that is a polite thing to do. So we waited and waited, and it took like 3 hours for him to cook his food, and then eventually I just asked him if we could start eating because we were waiting for him, but it was taking so long, we were getting a bit hungry. So he's like, oh yeah, eat, sure, that's fine. We started eating, and then he joined us with his food and then told us halfway through, oh, you can take some of my food if you like. And we were like, seriously, you could have told us like 3 hours ago that we could have eaten some of your food or shared it with you. We bought bread and cheese and butter just for the sake of having something to eat, because you didn't give us any information when we asked you if we're going to be eating together or if we're going to have to buy food at a restaurant or anything like that. So we were getting really fed up, and my friend then wrote her friend, "I'm at this guy's place and he's totally crazy," and sent her the location. "If I don't text you in the morning, please call the police."
A little side note to this, my friend's phone died in the morning and her friend got really concerned, texting me, asking me if we were okay. She thought the guy had hurt us in any way and was threatening to call the police if I don't text back.
And so we were sitting there getting really tired. My friend was starting to lie on my lap because she was like really knackered, and this guy was just listening to music really loudly, just sitting next to us and not talking to us. What are you gonna do? Should we tell him that we're tired? At 3 o'clock he asked us, when do you usually go to bed, or are you tired or anything? And we're like, oh, we would like to sleep now, so we do want to sleep right now. And he's like, oh, okay, then you'll just go in my bed. And we're like, oh, no, we'll just sleep on the rug, it's okay. We just need a duvet and a pillow and that's okay. And he's like, yeah, okay, fine. He gave us a pillow and a duvet, asked us again if we really didn't want to sleep in the bed. And we didn't want to owe him anything, so we sort of said, no, we'll sleep on the floor, it's okay. And sort of went to bed, and we were then discussing how we're going to go by this situation, if we're going to sleep another night at his place, or if we're going to leave in the morning. So the night was fine, nothing happened, we slept and it was okay. We had our breakfast and sort of discussed what we wanted to do. Told him we were planning to go to the museum and sort of see multiple things in Amsterdam. We tried to invite him to our activities, but he sort of brushed it off, said he had to work. He was really rude to us because he was still grumpy about the comment he misunderstood. And so we sort of went and did our thing. It's getting quite late, so Sophia and I said, okay, let's go to a restaurant and really have a nice meal together, because it was the last evening, and at the beginning of the week we were sort of saving money for the case that we might not find someone who will let us sleep on their couch or on their floor. So we sort of wrote him and said, we're going to have a meal now, do you want to join us? Because we obviously didn't want to be so unpolite, because he did let us sleep in his house, and he wrote us back saying, no, he can't, he's having a Couchsurfer meeting. He then texted us writing, where are you? And we told him we're in Vapiano. And he's like, okay, I'll pick you up there. And we're like, no, we're going to have a meal first, and we don't know when we're going to finish. We might have desserts, we might have like a second course together, we're not sure yet, we haven't started yet. So he's like, okay, I'm going to a friend's and sort of chilling there. And we're like, okay, great. As we were finished, we wrote him and said, okay, we're finished now. Should we meet up, or are you going to your Couchsurfer meeting? We're just going to do our thing then. And he's like, oh no, we'll meet up and then we'll talk about what we can do. So we met him and he said, let's go to the Couchsurfer meeting. And we're like, no, we don't want to go to a Couchsurfer meeting. This is our last evening in Amsterdam. We're not really interested in going to the Couchsurfer meeting. So he's like, okay, what do you want to do? And we're like, well, we might want to go into a coffee shop or maybe find a club or a party. We're not really sure. And he's like, all right, okay, whatever. And he was acting quite strangely. He was getting quite high. We sort of assumed that when he was at his friend's, he sort of took some weed, or sort of, I don't know how he consumed it, but he was getting really high, so he was starting to talk really weird things. He was sort of very friendly to us and very warm and very, let's do something. And we're like, okay, before this guy sort of runs in front of a train or anything like that, let's just bring him home. He was starting to say like really weird things. He's sort of giving us compliments in like the weirdest way. Like one of the compliments was, "You're so hot, I could grill my chicken on you." And the other one was, "You're so cool, I could cool my Coca-Cola on you." On the way home we were sort of teasing him because he was telling us about the moon was his girlfriend and the stars were the children they had together. And we were laughing our heads off and thinking, okay, it wasn't that bad. Today he's really friendly, and so tomorrow we'll just leave and then we'll have this whole experience for ourselves. In the morning we left really early and he was sort of in a really bad mood. He was rude to us. He didn't go to the door with us. He was just like, okay, bye, and we were like, okay, fine. And as we got out of his house, out of his apartment, we were just happy that it was over. We were just like, okay, so let's next time sort of organize a place to stay, because that was definitely not the best way to go about it. A few weeks later, I was talking to Sophia and we were sort of telling the story to our friends and sort of remembered the couch story he told us. So the story was, he didn't have a couch because it was being repaired. He's going to get a new one because the repair guys messed up his couch. And so we're like, okay, I'm interested in seeing what his couch looked like now. So I wrote him, I'm like, hey, how are you? We were just interested about your couch, if it's now arrived. Do you want to send us a picture? Yeah, my couch is back, and sent us a picture which was blatantly out of Google. He replied to us, sending us a picture of a white couch in front of like a brown beige wall, and we're like, okay, his walls were definitely white when we were there. So we asked him, oh, did you do renovating? Did you paint your walls? And he's like, oh no, it's just the picture because I took the picture at night, so it's the lighting. And we're like, that is not the lighting. We sort of have a general understanding about photography. We both have the same camera and we sort of like to do it as a hobby. So we're like, that is not the lighting. We were thinking, okay, he's obviously just went into Google and typed in white sofa. So we Googled and found the picture in Google. And we're like, okay, that was it.